The phone vibrates at 6:47 a.m. Not a gentle buzz. A sharp, insistent scream that pulls you from sleep like a hand around your throat. The emergency alert cuts through the morning silence. Nuclear weapons deployed. More strikes imminent. Shelter in place. The words glow on the screen, clinical and cold. You read them twice, 3 times. Your brain refuses to process what your eyes are seeing. Outside, car alarms trigger in sequence down the block. Someone is screaming. The sound is distant but raw, primal. You move to the window and see your neighbor standing in his driveway, phone in hand, staring at nothing. His mouth is open. No sound comes out. This is the moment, the exact second when the infrastructure holding 8 million people together begins to fracture. And you are watching it happen in real time. The city you know is already dying. You just don't realize it yet. Within 90 seconds, the cellular network buckles. Not from any attack, from sheer volume. 40 million people in the metropolitan area are trying to make the same call simultaneously. The towers can't handle it. The signal bars on your phone flicker and die. You try again. Nothing. The digital umbilical cord connecting you to everyone you love just severed. The landline is dead too. You pick up the receiver and hear only silence. Not even a dial tone. The copper wires beneath the streets still exist, but the switching stations are overwhelmed. The operators who would normally manage the load are staring at their own phones, frozen by the same terror gripping you. You turn on the television. 3 channels show the emergency broadcast system. A monotone voice repeating coordinates and instructions that mean nothing to you. 2 channels show anchors sitting at desks, visibly shaking, reading from scripts they clearly don't believe. 1 channel is just static. You flip to the news. A reporter stands in front of City Hall. Her makeup is perfect. Her voice cracks on every 3rd word. She's telling people to remain calm, while her eyes betray absolute panic. Behind her, you see people running. Not jogging, running. The kind of running that comes from animal instinct, not rational thought. The clock reads 7:14 a.m. You've been awake 27 minutes. The world you understood is already gone. You make a decision. You're leaving. Everyone is making the same decision. That's the problem. You grab your keys, your wallet, whatever cash you have in the drawer. $240. You stuff clothes into a backpack. Your hands are shaking so badly it takes 3 tries to zip it closed. You don't have a plan. You just know you need to move. The car starts on the first turn. That feels like a miracle. You back out of the driveway and immediately hit brake lights. The intersection at the end of your street is completely gridlocked. Cars pointing in 4 different directions, none of them moving. Horns blare in a discordant symphony of desperation. You inch forward. It takes 11 minutes to travel 2 blocks. The highway entrance is visible a 1/4 mile ahead. The ramp is choked with vehicles. You can see brake lights stretching into the distance like a river of red. People are abandoning their cars. A man in a business suit is walking down the shoulder, carrying a briefcase and a gallon jug of water. A woman pushes a stroller between stopped vehicles, moving faster on foot than anyone is moving on wheels. The infrastructure designed to evacuate a city is now a trap holding everyone inside it. The gas station on the corner has a line of cars extending into the street. You count 17 vehicles waiting. The digital price sign is blank. The pumps are still running, but the payment systems are down. The attendant is shouting at people through the bulletproof glass, demanding cash only. A fight breaks out near pump 3. 2 men shoving each other over, who was there first. No one intervenes. Everyone just watches, calculates, decides whether it's worth the risk to stay in line. You keep driving. 3 miles in 45 minutes. The radio cycles between emergency broadcasts and silence. 1 station has a host taking calls. Every caller is asking the same questions. Where should we go? Is the water safe? Are we going to die? The host has no answers. He just keeps saying, stay calm, wait for official instructions. His voice gets higher with each sentence. More desperate. Then the station cuts to static mid-word. You scan through the frequencies. Most are dead air. 1 plays the emergency tone on loop. Another has someone reading Bible verses in a voice that sounds sedated. By 9:30 a.m., you've traveled 7 miles. The battery indicator on your phone shows 18%. There's no way to charge it. The car adapter is buried in a box somewhere in your garage, in the house you left 2.5 hours ago. You pass a convenience store with shattered windows. People are carrying out cases of water, bags of chips, anything they can hold. No one is stopping them. There are no police, no sirens. The mechanisms of law and order are already absent. The highway is completely stopped now. You can see smoke rising from somewhere ahead. An accident, or a fire, or both. People are getting out of their cars. Some are sitting on their hoods, staring at their phones even though the phones don't work anymore. Others are walking back toward the city, giving up on escape, accepting whatever comes next. You make the same calculation. You've moved less than 10 miles in 4 hours. You have a quarter tank of gas left. The city is eating itself, and you're stuck inside it. You abandon the car on the highway shoulder. Take your backpack. Start walking. Not toward anywhere. Just away. The sun is directly overhead now. It's hot. You didn't bring enough water. Around you, thousands of other people are making the same realization. The exodus that seemed so urgent at dawn now feels pointless. There's nowhere to run that doesn't require resources you don't have. Food, fuel, information, safety. All of it gone in less than 12 hours. The power is still on in some areas. You can see traffic lights functioning at intersections, cycling through their patterns for traffic that no longer exists. But other neighborhoods are dark. The grid is unstable. Too much demand. Not enough operators at the controls. The power plants are still generating electricity, but the workers are leaving their posts, choosing family over duty. The delicate balance between supply and demand is collapsing. Rolling blackouts begin around 1 p.m. Not coordinated. Not planned, just random failures cascading through the system. You find yourself in a neighborhood you don't recognize. Residential streets, trees, quiet, too quiet. Some houses have cars in the driveways, others are clearly empty. You see curtains moving in windows, people watching, deciding whether you're a threat. You're deciding the same thing about them. The social contract that allowed strangers to coexist peacefully in dense urban spaces is evaporating. Territory matters now. Outsiders are suspects. A group of men is standing at an intersection ahead, 5 of them, blocking the road. One has a baseball bat. They're not threatening, not yet, but they're making a statement. This area belongs to them now. You turn down a side street, walk faster. The rules are being rewritten in real time and no one knows what the new rules are, only that the old ones no longer apply. By 4 p.m. on day 1, the city has lost basic coherence. The population has fractured into those who left, those who stayed by choice, and those who stayed because they had no other option. You're in the 3rd category. You passed an elementary school an hour ago. Families were sheltering in the gymnasium. A woman was handing out bottles of water from a pallet. A man was trying to organize people into groups, trying to create structure where structure had dissolved. You kept walking. Groups mean obligations. Obligations mean risk. The sun is setting. You haven't eaten since yesterday. Your phone died 2 hours ago. You have no idea what's actually happening in the world. Nuclear war could be raging across continents, or it could be a false alarm. You have no way to know. The information ecosystem that kept you connected to reality is gone. You're operating on rumors and instinct. Someone told you the bridges are closed. Someone else said the tunnels collapsed. You don't know if any of it is true. Truth doesn't matter anymore. Only survival matters. You find an abandoned office building. The front door is unlocked. Inside, the emergency lights cast everything in dim amber. You climb to the 3rd floor and find a conference room with a couch. You barricade the door with chairs. You sit in the dark and listen to the sounds of the city transforming. Glass breaking. Voices shouting. The distant pop of what might be gunfire or might be fireworks, or might be your imagination. You close your eyes but you don't sleep. Sleeping means vulnerability. Vulnerability means death. Day 2 begins without fanfare. No sunrise because the windows face north. just a gradual lightening of the darkness. You're thirsty, desperately thirsty. The water fountains in the building don't work, no pressure. The municipal pumps rely on electricity, and the electricity is failing. You find a vending machine in the break room, smash the glass with a chair leg, take 4 bottles of water and 2 bags of chips. You feel like a criminal. Then you remember there are no criminals anymore, only survivors. The streets are different in daylight, emptier. The people who were wandering yesterday are gone now. Either they found shelter, or they left the city, or they're dead. You don't let yourself think about that third option. The stores that weren't looted on day 1 are being systematically stripped on day 2. Not by mobs, by small organized groups, people with trucks and tools. They're taking everything: food, medicine, batteries, clothing. The economy has reverted to its most primitive form. Take what you can carry, defend what you have, trade for what you need. You see a pharmacy with armed guards outside. 3 men with rifles, not military, just residents protecting resources. A line of people waits on the sidewalk. They're trading. A gold necklace for insulin, a carton of cigarettes for antibiotics. The men with guns are the new government. They decide who gets what. They enforce the rules they've invented. No one challenges them because challenge means violence and violence means death. The water stops completely around noon. You turn a faucet in a gas station bathroom and nothing comes out. Not even a drip. The reservoir that supplies the city still has water. The treatment plants still exist. But without power to run the pumps, without operators to manage the pressure, the system is dead. Millions of people in a desert created by the collapse of infrastructure. You think about the river that runs through downtown. How polluted it is. How desperate you'd have to be to drink from it. You're not that desperate yet. Yet is doing a lot of work in that sentence. By evening, territories have formed. Neighborhoods that were just names on maps yesterday are now distinct zones controlled by different groups. Some are organized communities, residents pooling resources and protecting each other. Others are gangs, armed groups claiming territory and extracting tribute from anyone who wants to pass through. The difference between the two is sometimes hard to distinguish. Both require loyalty. Both use force. Both operate outside the legal framework that no longer exists. You stay in the office building for a second night. The conference room feels safer than the streets. You eat 1 bag of chips and drink half a bottle of water. Rationing. You don't know how long you'll need to make these supplies last. Hours, days, weeks. The future is a blank space where planning used to be. You hear footsteps in the hallway around midnight. Someone else has found this building. You hold your breath. The footsteps pass your door. Keep moving. You don't relax until you hear them descend the stairs and exit the building. Day 3. 48 hours since the alert. You're out of water. You have to move. The streets are dangerous in a way they weren't 2 days ago. Not chaotic. Organized. Different groups control different blocks. You see checkpoints at intersections. People stopping travelers, demanding to know where they're going, what they're carrying, who they are. The cosmopolitan anonymity of urban life is gone. Everyone is suspicious. Everyone is a potential threat. You find a community distribution point in a church parking lot. The National Guard is there. 6 soldiers with rifles and a truck full of supplies. They're handing out bottled water and MREs. 1 per person. You wait in line for 40 minutes. When you reach the front, a soldier who can't be older than 22 hands you a bottle and a brown plastic pouch. He doesn't make eye contact. His hands shake slightly. He's as scared as you are. You want to ask him what's happening, if the war is real, if help is coming, but he's already waving the next person forward. The line behind you stretches for blocks. Hundreds of people, maybe thousands, all waiting for a single bottle of water and a meal in a bag. The abundance that characterized city life 48 hours ago is a memory. The grocery stores with 10,000 products, the restaurants on every corner, the delivery trucks arriving on schedule. All of it depended on systems that no longer function: logistics networks, supply chains, electronic payments, consumer confidence. Remove those pillars and civilization collapses into subsistence. You see families sleeping in cars, not trying to drive anymore, just living in them. Windows covered with blankets for privacy. Children's faces pressed against glass, watching the world with eyes that have aged years and days. You see elderly people sitting on stoops, unable to walk to the distribution points, waiting for someone to bring them food and water. You see dogs wandering loose, their owners either gone or unable to care for them. The city is fragmenting into isolated tribes separated by invisible borders of fear and distrust. The physical landscape has changed. Abandoned vehicles line every major street. Trash piles up at intersections because garbage collection stopped on day one. Buildings stand empty with doors hanging open and windows shattered. Graffiti appears on walls, not art. Warnings, territory markers. The infrastructure that made urban density possible, traffic management, waste removal, public safety, is absent. What remains is a medieval cityscape wearing the corpse of modernity. You find yourself near the river by late afternoon. Dozens of people are filling containers with brown water. They know it's contaminated. They're doing it anyway because the alternative is dying of thirst. You watch a woman boil water over a small camp stove. The stove runs on propane. The canister is nearly empty. When it runs out, she'll have to choose between dehydration and disease. You fill your bottles. You'll boil it later, somehow, with resources you don't have, using knowledge you're inventing in real time. The sun sets on day 3, and the city is unrecognizable. The population has been reduced by 80%. The infrastructure has failed. The government exists only in isolated pockets protected by armed force. The economy is barter and theft. The social bonds that held millions of strangers together have shattered into tribalism and survival. The bright towers downtown still stand. The bridges still span the river. The streets still follow their grid pattern. But the city as a living organism is dead. What remains is a corpse twitching with the last electrical impulses before rigor mortis sets in. You find shelter for the 3rd night in an apartment building. The front door was kicked in. You climb to the 5th floor. Check each apartment until you find one that's empty but not destroyed. You lock yourself inside. Drink boiled river water that tastes like chemicals and dirt. Eat the last of your supplies. Tomorrow you'll have to find more. The day after that, more again. The cycle of scarcity that defines life now. No surplus, no security, just the endless present tense of survival. Outside, the city is dark. Not the darkness of night in a functioning urban area. The absolute darkness of a power grid that no longer exists. No streetlights, no building lights, no car headlights. Just the occasional flicker of fires burning in barrels or flashlights moving through the void. The darkness is more than physical. It's informational. You have no idea what's happening beyond your immediate sightline. The networks that carried information are dead. You're navigating by rumor and guesswork. The ignorance is suffocating. You think about the city as it was 72 hours ago. The restaurants full of people. The subway cars packed with commuters. The stores open 24 hours. The assumption that tomorrow would be like today. That infrastructure was permanent. That civilization was resilient. All of it revealed as illusion. The comfortable urban life you knew was always one crisis away from collapse. The systems holding it together were more fragile than anyone wanted to believe. Remove electricity, communication, and trust, and the city reverts to something primal, something medieval, something brutal.